Imagine going back 20,000 years. The sun is rising. A small group is waking beside a shelter. Someone is preparing food. Someone else is collecting wood. Others are already moving through the surrounding landscape. And for a moment, look at their bodies. You might expect them all to be extremely thin. After all, there are no supermarkets, no refrigerators, no fast food, no shelves filled with snacks, and no food delivery waiting outside the shelter. So, did obesity even exist? Could an ancient human become seriously overweight? Or was obesity something that appeared only after modern civilization created endless food? The answer is more complicated than you might think, because humans have always been capable of storing body fat, and that ability was extremely useful. Imagine living in a world where your next meal is uncertain. Today, you can become hungry and immediately find food. You can open a refrigerator, walk into a store, order something online, or simply grab a snack. Ancient humans had none of these options. If they became hungry, they had to find something to eat. That might mean searching for plants, digging for roots, collecting nuts, fishing, tracking animals, or following seasonal sources of food. And sometimes the search failed. This created an environment where energy was precious. Every calorie mattered. And when the body received more energy than it immediately needed, some of it could be stored as fat. That storage system was not a flaw, it was an advantage. Fat is basically an energy reserve. If food disappeared for several days, your body could begin using those reserves. If winter became difficult, they could help keep you alive. If a hunt failed, stored energy could buy you time. So evolution had a reason to make humans good at storing energy. The problem is that our ancient bodies were designed for a world of uncertainty. Modern humans live in a world of abundance, and that difference changes everything. Imagine an ancient hunter after a successful hunt. He has spent hours walking. He has tracked an animal. He has carried equipment. He may have climbed hills. He may have run. And now he finally has food. He eats. Maybe he eats a lot. But tomorrow he may have to do it all again. The food doesn't simply appear. The calories have to be earned through effort. Now compare that with modern life. You can spend 8 hours sitting at a desk, drive home, sit on a couch, and still consume more energy in one evening than your body needs. The effort required to obtain food has almost disappeared, but our biology didn't disappear with it. Our appetite still responds to food. Our brain still recognizes energy-dense foods as valuable, and our bodies can still store excess energy. But this raises an important question. If ancient humans could store fat, why don't we find evidence of widespread obesity in prehistoric populations? One reason is simple. Food was usually harder to obtain. This made it much harder to maintain a large calorie surplus for long periods. But that does not mean ancient humans were all naturally thin. Human bodies have always varied. Some people were smaller. Some were larger. Some carried more muscle. Some carried more fat. And some probably became heavier when food was plentiful. The difficult part is knowing exactly how heavy they were. Archaeologists usually don't find an ancient person with their body intact. Soft tissue disappears. Fat disappears. What remains is mostly bone. And bones can tell us many things, but not everything. Scientists can study skeletal remains for signs of disease. They can estimate body size. They can examine teeth for clues about diet. They can analyze food remains found at settlements. They can study ancient art. But none of these gives us a perfect measurement of body fat. So when we ask whether an ancient human was obese, we have to be careful. There is another fascinating source of evidence: prehistoric figurines. Some of these figures show bodies with large stomachs, wide hips, full breasts, and unusually rounded forms. At first, this seems like obvious evidence. Maybe these were simply portraits of overweight people. But we don't know that. The figures may have represented fertility, pregnancy, abundance, motherhood, or an idealized human body. An artist might deliberately exaggerate certain features. So, a large belly in a prehistoric sculpture does not automatically mean that obesity was common. Still, it tells us something interesting. Humans have been thinking about body shape for thousands of years, and body size may have had meanings beyond health. In a world where food could disappear, having a body capable of storing energy could even have been desirable. This becomes especially important when we remember that ancient humans did not experience the same food supply every day. Some seasons could be extremely generous, others could be terrible. This is very different from modern food availability. Today, the supermarket does not care what season it is. You can buy high-calorie food in winter. You can eat at midnight. You can have dessert after dinner. And tomorrow, the same foods will still be available. Ancient humans faced natural limits. Modern humans have removed many of them. But there is another major difference. The type of food has changed. Ancient diets could contain meat, fish, wild plants, roots, nuts, seeds, fruits, and many other foods. But many of these foods required effort to obtain and process. You couldn't simply unwrap a highly concentrated meal. You had to do something first. Find it, collect it, carry it, prepare it, cook it, and eat it. Modern food can be completely different. A small amount can contain enormous amounts of energy. Sugar and fat can be combined into foods that are extremely easy to consume. You don't need to spend hours finding them. You don't need to chase anything. You don't even need to stand up. That creates a strange mismatch. Our brains evolved to value scarce energy. Modern society can provide energy almost endlessly. But ancient humans still experienced periods of abundance. The ability to become overweight is much older. What changed was how often the conditions for it appeared. For most prehistoric people, food shortages were a regular threat. A successful hunt might provide a feast, but a failed hunt could mean hunger. A good harvest could create abundance. A bad season could create scarcity. That constant fluctuation made it difficult for excess body fat to remain extremely high for long periods. Even when ancient people had plenty of food, they still had to live physically demanding lives. They had to process the food, move it, store it, protect it, prepare it. They had to maintain shelters, travel, care for children, and respond to their environment. There were few opportunities to spend an entire day almost motionless. Modern humans created those opportunities. You can work without walking, shop without walking, communicate without walking, and even entertain yourself without moving. You can consume food while sitting in exactly the same place. That would have been an extremely unusual lifestyle for most of human history. But then something happened. Humans began settling down. Agriculture changed the relationship between people and food. Instead of constantly searching for wild resources, people could grow crops, raise animals, store grain, remain in one place. Food became more predictable, and some people could control more food than others. As societies became larger, inequality became important. A poor farmer and a wealthy ruler did not necessarily eat the same diet. One might struggle to get enough food. The other might have access to large quantities of it. This means body size may have sometimes reflected social status. In some historical societies, being larger could even signal wealth. It could show that a person had access to food that ordinary people did not. But again, we should not assume that every large person in ancient art was obese. Art can be symbolic. Historical descriptions can be exaggerated, and skeletal evidence is incomplete. So, how common was obesity? Probably not very common among most prehistoric populations. But that is very different from saying it never happened. Some individuals could have gained substantial amounts of body fat, especially during periods of unusual abundance, or in communities with reliable food supplies. And as civilizations became wealthier, the possibility likely increased. Eventually, humans created cities, trade networks expanded, food became easier to transport, preservation methods improved, and wealthy people could obtain foods from distant regions. The distance between humans and food became smaller. Then came something even more dramatic: industrialization. Food production became faster, transportation became easier, calories became cheaper, and food could be produced in enormous quantities. At the same time, physical work began disappearing from daily life. Machines could carry things, cars could move people, factories could automate labor, and eventually, computers replaced even more physical tasks. The result was a world where obtaining food required very little energy. That is almost the exact opposite of the environment in which our ancestors evolved. So perhaps the strangest thing about obesity is not that modern humans can become obese. The strange thing is that our biology still behaves as though food might disappear tomorrow. Your body does not know that there is a supermarket nearby. It does not know that your kitchen is full. It does not know that you can order another meal in minutes. It simply responds to energy. Eat more than you need, and some of that energy can be stored. That system once helped humans survive. Now, in an environment where food can be available constantly, the same system can work against us. So, did ancient humans have obesity? Almost certainly, at least in some individuals. But widespread obesity was probably far less common than it is in many modern populations. Not because ancient humans had perfect diets, not because they had some special metabolism, and not because they were naturally immune to gaining weight. Their world simply made sustained overeating much harder. Food was uncertain, movement was unavoidable, energy was valuable, and scarcity regularly forced the body to use its reserves. Modern humans changed the environment without completely changing the biology inside us. We built refrigerators, stores, restaurants, delivery apps, factories, cars, desks, couches, and endless sources of calories. Our ancestors had to ask, where will the next meal come from? We often face the opposite question: which meal should I choose? Thousands of years ago, having extra energy stored in your body could help you survive a difficult season. Today, the same biological ability can become a health problem when the difficult season never arrives. The human body changed slowly. Our environment changed incredibly fast. And perhaps that is the real story behind ancient obesity. It wasn't that ancient humans had no ability to become fat. They had the same basic biological system we have. What they didn't have was our world, a world where food can be everywhere, all the time, and where surviving the day can require almost no physical movement at all.